Welcome everybody to MogTalk episode 281. Today is May 27th, and if you guys are unfamiliar with, I guess 2023, if you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk's show based around Final Fantasy 14, talking everything about Savage, to Chocobo Racing, to World Racing, and we're bringing on three amazing people who will be participating in the race coming up in just a little bit. And before we go too much further, let's go ahead and have them introduce themselves. I don't know why the chat just disappeared, but I'll figure that out while you guys are doing your introductions. Nari, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Nari. She, her. I am a tank for Kindred.
Nice. Welcome. And for those that aren't familiar with Kindred, they got streamed first on top just recently. So exciting. How's that chair going?
It's really good, actually. It's a good chair.
Good. Oh, all right. Narrlocke? Narrlocke?
I'm Narrlocke, and I'm gay.
Okay. See, you've come on at least twice with camera. At least twice.
Twice? I
Yeah.
don't think it's just once, but I do say that I'm gay every time. Maybe you remember that.
I do, because it just catches me off guard. I'm not expecting to hear that, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Alice.
Hello, I go by Alice online. I'm playing caster for DN this tier. I wasn't with them for top, but I was supporting when I could.
Nice. You were actually, to be fair, you are the reigning champion. You're on the team of the reigning champion, for Criterion Savage.
Yeah, debatable. But we want to win normal this time, so.
Okay. And Nar is on. Did you tell everybody you're on Neverland? Because I think that we completely skipped over that.
I'm on Neverland, I think. Is that this? Am I following the script correctly?
That's the correct script. Yes, Neverland,
Okay.
which was first offline for top. So pretty stat crew here, I think, at least today when talking about the world first race. We have some really cool stuff coming up, and this is going to be the last major race that we have, I think, for the rest of expansion, maybe like almost a year, right?
Yeah,
Should be.
that's true. It'll be a long time before the next Savage, at least, or an Ultimate.
Well, you just hyped up Criterion, and now you're saying it's not big.
I mean, maybe it'll be big. It depends on if they change the rewards on it, right?
That's true. That's fair.
So it really depends on what they do. I'm hoping that they make some changes to get people excited for it. I mean, that will be up pretty soon, right after this race, if they make the right changes. That's what we're hoping for. I mean, when I did that race, it was literally me at a computer doing my best by myself.
I liked Criterion. It was fun.
It was.
It was awesome. Even I thought it was really, really fun.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
But it disappeared right after half a day.
Yeah. It was a really good prog, and it was a fun fight to farm, but the rewards just aren't great. Although, to be fair, it did make me a lot of gil. So
That is fair. Like, you don't make as much gil off of it now as well. Actually, you probably do if you wanted to. Couldn't you?
Well, they don't sell as fast anymore, is the thing.
Okay.
I think my favorite part about the Criterion is the book that you get for Savage that gives you one materia.
Yeah.
A singular materia. It would be less insulting if you just got nothing at that point.
Yeah. Materia is just that. Hey, we got to put something there, right? Prize. They don't have to do any. They don't have to make armor. They don't have to do anything for it. They're just like, here's a reward. It has some value to someone, maybe.
It would have been better if it just had nothing.
It's I think it's still better than some of those like consumable effects things like Heaven's Crackers and confetti.
Ew, fireworks.
Actually, you know what? I'd prefer that to materia. That would be less insulting.
Do you know what? I have spent the last 2 months trying to solo the new Eureka Orthos. And I got it recently.
How many of those do you have?
I had so many firecrackers, and every time I got one, I just got angry. I was just like, why would you even pair this to, like, I just spent 7 hours trying to solo this, died, and I get some firecrackers in my bag afterwards. I don't know, it felt miserable.
Congrats on the clear, by the way. I did watch it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was the stupidest decision I've ever made. To do that without looking up guides, like, that was the dumbest thing. The biggest time waste I could ever do. It was fun and it was rewarding because you don't really get that kind of that blind experience, right? You don't get that not looking up strategy experience unless if you're doing world first or you have a very dedicated crew of people that you're raiding with, and that's extremely rare to find a whole group of people who want to do that unless if they're racing world first or doing week 1 stuff. But you could force that on yourself in Deep Dungeon because you do it solo. You don't have to get other people to agree to do it. You're not, hurting other people by not looking up guides. But I mean that really does tie back into it. Would you guys say that's maybe one of the major highlights for you why you even do this race, is so you could do the mechanics and figure it out yourself?
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's like a huge pleasure in Final Fantasy XIV to be able to figure out these. I went into the extreme recently, and I try to do this with every single fight. Is not look up guides at least the first time I go in there. Go pure fresh and just try to at least math out like the first handful of mechanics until people get pissed off, right? And the extreme, I was able to figure out the towers and stuff before I had to stop. I had to go away, walk away from the computer. And that was fun, figuring out to put the dude in the middle and everything. Figuring out the waymarks for the extreme, even more fun.
Waymarks?
Yeah. Putting down the right waymarks for the extreme when you're doing it in Party Finder. Oh, I don't know if you guys
What
see
are
the
waymarks?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you would use waymarks for.
In that fight?
Yeah.
For orientation of north, south, east, west, where the gales are going. Orientation of where you're going to put the middle marker, right? Because that dot is so hard to see.
There are lines on the floor.
How do you see the lines when there's 50 mechanics going off?
Are you talking about the guy with the knockback with the comets?
Yeah, the comets and the towers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Trying to figure out.
I have a tiny soapbox about that.
Do you?
I've been in some PFs that put all 4 of the number waymarks in the center, like in a tiny box, and that sucks. Don't do that.
I do it. It's the best way to do it. Literally, you put it right there.
No, you put a single waymark in the center and use the corners of the waymark. It's way better, way less busy. It's so much better.
So you only use 5 total waymarks for it, then?
Yes.
Okay, I can probably be down for that. 5 total, but not like using all 8 and just putting 1 randomly in the middle, right? I could probably deal with 1 in the middle, like a crosshair or something like that.
I mean, when Kindred did it as like blind prog practice, we just had normal clock markers, and then we just took one of the corners and put it in the center. Just one of the corners was missing.
And that looks horrible.
Yeah,
it looks so bad.
If it's not symmetrical, miss me with it.
Oh, what about like boss relative versus true north, east and west?
Boss relative is better, usually.
And I would say, when the boss cleaves, yeah.
In all situations, boss relative is better.
When it comes from the boss, it matters. It has to come from the boss. I don't know. Maybe I'm arguing with someone who like is a really good raider, so I don't know. But
could you define your boss relative? Like, when is it relative? At the end?
What do you mean? Like in this extreme in particular?
Yeah.
The only time that boss relative really helps is when he's doing the cleave, because that tells you what side you have to be on of the boss, right? Because he could be in all kinds of different ways and pulling all different types of directions. That would be the boss relative. But for Gale and stuff like that, huh?
I meant like people are seeing this differently. Like some people are doing right and left when you're going towards a safe spot, and some people do right and left looking at the boss once you're in the safe spot.
You all have to face the same way the boss is facing. That's how I would define it. Like
relative to the boss, not relative to you.
Right. So if the boss is
What if
facing
you
this way,
end in
you're
front of
east
him?
or you're left
Boss
or
is
right of
left.
the boss. Yeah.
It's always the boss's left or the boss's right if you're doing the boss relative.
Yeah.
Because who knows what direction you don't have to discuss what direction everyone should be looking while they're doing their mechanic or whatever. Just like everyone's looking at the boss, just go to the boss's left or the right, right?
Yeah. Pretend you're the boss and then go
straightforward
to
to me.
the left or to the right. That's how I would do it. But this boss has been literally the most murderous boss simply because of all the confusion of discussing the strats of how to do it.
You want to? So when my group did the X trial when it came up, we like did it right away just for practice or whatever. I remember we did the whole thing without ever once talking about any stack markers. Everyone just went to their stack markers without saying a word.
Oh
so
yeah, same.
we had to actually, after we cleared a couple, like just the other day, we talked about that in our group chat. Like, hey, we did this whole thing without saying a word, but like Party Finder was getting slain by this. Maybe we should like vocalize our reflexes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
I think the conclusion that we came to was that we did everything. Usually we do all of our stacks like east and west, north and south, based on like the room. But the mechanic you're talking about, where he swings forward and then back and then out in the two stacks, we like shifted back and forth between true north and boss relative, like without anyone saying anything. And I think the conclusion we ended up coming to is that that mechanic is based on the boss, so we do it boss relative, and all the other mechanics are based on the arena, so we do it arena relative, right?
Yeah. I think that's the best way to handle it.
The thing that makes the most sense to me.
I think honestly in Party Finder, just like figure out which healer you're supposed to be attached to and just find the healer. Wherever they went, that's where you go.
Yeah, and that's
doesn't
great.
It doesn't matter where they went or why.
Yeah. But that all being said, reminds me of a conversation I had with Sindoff actually not too long ago, where he said he has some trouble doing some of the Party Finder strats because in his group, and they just do it all on feel and reflex on some of the stuff, right? And I'm guessing when you're talking about everyone kind of went to their stack in the right spot, that was a lot of just feel and reflex, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's a lot of feel and reflex on doing 500 different kinds of weird stacks already beforehand, right?
Yep.
It doesn't really like work the same way in Party Finder because you don't know what that fucking guy's gonna do.
Oh, that's why I love it.
I know what my party's
chaos.
gonna do. We do the same thing every time, right? But
Right. Oh, well, I mean, besides all that, you guys have had some time in the normal mode. Are you guys excited for this next tier? Does it seem intriguing? Like it's going to leave a good impression? I know a lot of people were pretty upset in the last 2 tiers of this raid cycle.
I'm pumped.
Yeah?
I don't know if it's copium, but I'm very excited for this tier.
Nice.
but people were upset.
I mean, dude, I had a show sorry, I got a little bit. There we go.
Me?
All right, no, not you. You're good. Anyways, ignore what I just said. But yeah, I had a show just recently with Zeno, Arthas, and Happy and Siren, and they all hate it. The last tier, they hated it.
Why? I thought it was good, relatively speaking.
I mean, honestly, I think it was just like, gosh, I have to go back because I'm blanking now on it now that you asked me why. Because I enjoyed it too, but I think it was a lot to do with maybe they found it boring or not that interesting. But
I think that, yeah, that's a pretty common sentiment in what I've been hearing is that it was pretty good to prog. But once you started getting into farm, like 6 just kind of became a striking dummy. 7 doesn't do anything until that back half of the fight. It's just, yeah, it was just like 6 and 7 were kind of boring. And then 8 is kind of whatever on farm. Like it was a really cool prog, especially phase 1. But yeah, it's just kind of like overall after a month or two, people just like generally feel like it's a pretty mid tier overall.
yeah.
Oh, I like the door boss a lot.
You like
I do
the door
too.
boss?
Same.
Yeah, that's one of my
I
favorites.
like the door boss a lot, but it got a lot worse once you started like being in parse groups or speedrunning groups when you now have to coin flip the order of the timeline. and that soured it a bit. But from a design perspective, that the door boss is really good.
Oh, see, my solution is to not play with parse monkeys.
I mean, that's
There you
fair.
go.
Oh, I like the Carbuncle, Proto Carbuncle fight.
Carbuncle's a very good
one
fight.
One of the best first turns in a long time. Really fun.
Now, my experience in that tier is coming in late and doing it all in Party Finder. So you get to see kind of what it evolved. I was able to see what it turned out to be at the very end, I guess, and experience that whole nonsense. And the P8 was almost near impossible in Party Finder, simply because players couldn't get into P2 consistent enough to beat the people's time limits that would normally do Party Finder.
Yeah, the door boss is a little harder than usual lately, I think. Yeah.
And this is with everybody having max gear, basically, right? Outside of the weapon and maybe the chest piece. And so it's just one of those things to where the general community at that point had a lot of trouble with that fight. But I think that should be normal, right? It's supposed to be a pretty difficult fight. I don't think those fights should be you join a group and okay, well, they said they're at this point, they've made it there before, that means we're going to clear it. It should be people have to come in and be good and not have a miracle to get there and then claim that they should be able to clear it now. But I don't know. I was happy with it overall. I'm seeing what the normal fights are right now, and they look every single time I do this is I see the normal fights and I start just getting really imaginative. I'm like, well, what are they gonna do with this, right? And I over imagine what they're gonna do.
Look, I feel that. I identify with that very strongly.
Yeah.
It's been how long have I played this game now? Like I've been doing early Savage for like 6 years now, probably. And every time I'm always like so excited when I see the normal mode, and I'm like, oh boy, all the cool things they could do with this. And then, unfortunately, because of the fact that they have to make like the early fights easier, a lot of that ends up not getting used very creatively, and then I'm always sad. So I've tried to not be overly imaginative lately because it just makes me sad.
That is a fear of mine for this tier specifically because P10 has potential. Like it's got some really cool mechanics. The arena is weird and in an interesting way, but it's also a second turn. So is it going to be? Are they going to do it well like P2, or are they going to do it bad like P7? I don't know.
Remember what was it? Voidwalker? Which one was that?
Voidwalker is E2.
E2, and everyone saw the kind of time mechanic stuff that they were doing, the delayed and all this stuff, and they started thinking of all these crazy things they could do, and it really never got there. They didn't get to play with it as much.
It's still a cool fight, but yeah, it ends up being the fixed timeline anyway.
Yeah. So it's a little bit sad. I saw P10 and I kind of felt the same way. I was like, this is a neat little arena that they could do some interesting things with. But are they?
I'm gonna put this out there. I think P10 is either going to be the best fight of the tier or the worst. Either or.
By the way, who imagined that Pandemonium would turn out to be a spider?
The building is now a spider with cancer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they made it that way, but that is the bizarrest thing. I wouldn't have ever expected them to say, all right, now you're going to fight Pandemonium and it's a spider, a building spider. Good luck. But gosh. All right, so first boss. Let's talk about this a little bit in order, if you guys want to. Again, if you have deep secrets of opinions and stuff you don't want to share because you don't want the people in the show to, take your ideas, that's okay. All right.
We are competitors after all.
Yeah. But the first guy, very ravenous. He does ice and fire. Do you have any just theories on that? Any ancient aliens theories or anything that you want to throw out there? No.
Ancient alien theories?
Yeah, crazy theories. That's what I'm sorry.
Conspiracy theory? Is that
Yeah.
the word you're looking
I
for?
don't want to say conspiracy, right? I guess maybe, because I mean, just thoughts that you're like, I could attach these two things and maybe it will, happen.
Boss uses 3 souls in normal mode, and Savage he's got 7. Each one's a different phase.
Souls? He uses different souls? Is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
you got the soul. He's eating souls and taking on their abilities.
That's what he does. He's ravening the souls in the live stream. He eats them and then he like channels them. That's why there's the Mage, a Warrior, and a Beast.
Did you watch the cutscenes, Frosty?
I did. I think so.
He pukes him up and eats a different one. And then he goes back for the sloppy seconds later.
So he eats an ice soul and then he eats a fire soul?
No, he eats a mage.
Oh, a mage. Okay. All right.
And then he eats a monk, and then he eats just a behemoth, a random beast floating through the ether stream.
Okay. Now it's you guys. You're making sense because I was going ice, fire, lightning. Right. Those are my things. That was just
the last one was green.
Green's poison. I don't know.
Lightning.
It casts Charybdis, which makes tornadoes.
Listen. You leave Frosty and he's a green lightning alone.
No, there's lightning on the edge of the arena, man.
Right? You know what? You're right.
There is.
You're
It's
right.
purple. There's there's lightning on the edge. All right, and it's a huge arena at first. They could make it to where that death ring goes in, and it's one of the middle rings or a closer ring or something, and you have to be on the far outsides. But then that'd be a huge arena to play with. So I don't know. That's what I was hoping for. They would do something crazy with that. But I remember also being really excited. I think it was E1 alt right. Is that right? Or was that
Eden 1? That's Eden Prime.
Oh God, what was? No, it wasn't E1. It was the tier before that. O1.
Omega, Ultroid, yeah.
Yeah. And that was one shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're never doing that again. That's not
I remember
happening.
that. I was there.
There was so many thoughts and theories I had on that one too, but it just got one shot. It's so.
It's because nothing killed you.
Mm-hmm.
We got every mechanic wrong, but none of them killed us. So.
Yeah, that's a small aside on that. They're never gonna do that again. Like you might have a really easy fight, like P1 Eric Tony is a really easy fight, but it's got a bunch of its mechanics. Like 1 can just kill you, and 2 are kind of these like gotcha moments of like if you haven't seen it yet, you're not gonna know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just gonna keep doing that. This fight will probably have some stuff like that where you're tied to it. You're gonna need to figure it out to see it again.
Okay. Well, the logical theory that actually sounds good, that's not mine, is that they're gonna eat different souls, that gives them different abilities. And right now it's mage, monk, and what else was it?
Beast.
Okay. And that's when he gets up down on all fours and goes crazy, right?
Goes feral.
Yeah. Okay. So, what other souls would make sense in this world? I guess
That wasn't an actual speculation.
I mean, it sounds good, dude. I'm gonna be honest.
It's possible. It's definitely possible they add a 4th. I don't think they'll go up to like more than that.
Okay.
Even just with the 3 that they have now, so for the normal mode for last year and this one, I'll when the content comes out, I'll go through and I'll literally write down every single move that the boss does in normal mode, right? And the first boss of this tier has more spells than every other boss. The first boss has more attacks than the last boss, yeah.
More unique attacks, yeah.
The first boss, Kakitos, he has actually a huge amount of attacks. Like just in the normal mode, so it's kind of like there's probably not going to be a lot of stuff repeating in the Savage, hopefully.
And like the damage typing of his autos changes when he channels different souls and stuff. Like there's a bunch of he's just doing a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alice, you have any thoughts on it?
He does a lot of things, but it also feels like he doesn't do a lot of things.
Right. They're all very simple.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's just because it's normal mode, right? In Savage, he's going to be doing like 2 or 3 of those things at a time.
He's also it is still a first turn though, so it's not going to be too bad. I think.
It can't be
Even
worse
for
than the
first
extreme,
turn.
right?
Even for a first turn, he just has a lot of attacks like
Mhm.
that he can use potentially, which is pretty spooky.
It's so
Mhm.
it's making me hopeful because it's kind of reminding me a bit of Chaos 09. Like that boss was similar where it had like a lot of different things with different phases of elements with different attacks. And that's a really, really good Savage fight. So it's
Yo,
making me
Chaos was
hopeful.
awesome.
It's making me hopeful that this one could be similarly good.
Okay. The arena overall is pretty basic, though. I mean, it has the circles, inside for.
There are lines in the floor.
Yeah.
It's a flat round. It's a flat circle, right? I mean, it's a Final Fantasy boss.
Yeah.
It's a flat circle with like 2 extra rings and the 8 in cardinal intercardinal spokes. Like it's
Standard.
the most basic arena you can get.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on to like the second one is where we like change all that up, right? And we get like a completely different arena. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember seeing arena kite that was broken up in a way like this. And I don't. Is there any that are kind of like broken up with a little weird U shape like this? It feels small too.
They've done a couple like
It's
weird.
huge.
It's pretty big,
Yeah?
relative.
You remember those giant, hilarious buffs that everyone has now? Those don't reach in that room.
They
Yeah.
don't.
No,
No.
if you're on one platform, you can't reach the other.
You can't hit from one side to the other.
Unless
The
it's
the main
temperance.
platform is fairly small, but if you're including all of it, it's pretty big. Like
Okay.
the extreme's smaller, Proto Carbuncle's smaller.
Hmm.
The extreme's smaller than a standard. There's like standard arena sizes that most bosses have. It's usually 40-yard diameter, 20-yard radius from the center. But Golbez is even smaller than that. It's 30-yard diameter, which means you literally can't miss a buff even if you tried, unless
Nice.
it's diagonally.
I do think some of the bubbles are a little bit too annoying now. Like the fight just has a big bubble you have to see through the entire time.
Caracol is so dramatic.
Yeah.
I wish they made collective that big.
So
It'd
crazy.
be funny.
Well, it's quasi that big, right? It has half of
Yeah, yeah.
collective is.
But the animation isn't big though, right?
No.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
But I did in this fight in particular, one of the things that kind of stood out to me was that there's the 2 pulls on the back right of the arena, and I'm trying to figure out why would they have that unless if you need it to like build a wall when he pushes you back or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good reason for it.
That's probably the best reason you could think of.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I mean,
we've all thought about that.
they're very suspicious back there. There's no extra ones in the front, just ones that you need. So
They don't do anything in normal. Yeah.
you could use the back ones to either make walls in the back left or right, or diagonally through the room if you need webs to. If you just need to like make webs or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like all they do in normal is like if you don't want to get webbed, it forces the spreads into specific positions. Like yeah, that's they're gonna do more than that in Savage for sure.
I hope so. I'd be so disappointed if that's not the case, and it literally is the exact same thing where it's just like, hey, you just can't stand near him. That's it.
Oh no way.
I will let tease one more speculation that I had as well, which is that so in normal mode, it makes the bridges for you, right? So we're probably gonna have to make those bridges ourselves in Savage, and I think they're gonna force the tanks to eat a poison stack to get across to make that bridge.
That poison stack's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's why the tanks would do it.
I don't know. I guess maybe that would make sense, but I don't know. Have they ever done that where you have to take a bad mechanic like poison like that and make a choice to do it?
I mean, there's E1, Eden Prime, there's the praise that give you like a nasty dot that you have to pass to the tanks.
I mean, that's but that's
different.
like an unavoidable mechanic. Like this would be
Right,
avoidable, yeah.
Well, that'd be a way to make it not avoidable.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. So that would be interesting to see if they can do that. Definitely splitting up the parties, right? You're gonna have one party on one side, one party on the other side. Can't think of too much more with this fight, except for just a lot of web play, knockbacks, and splitting up the party. They could do something with the spotlights if they really want to, but I don't think they will.
That one like Heaven's Fall mechanic where there's the big yellow circle and the radial like things, that feels really out of place to me. I don't know, like it doesn't feel like it fits with the rest of the fight. I'm kind of wondering why that's there.
That's a good point. Like, it just feels awkward. What if they did 2 of those?
Simultaneously?
Yeah.
Good.
They split it up, right? You go in 2 different parties, and then you just put one on one side, one on the other side, and then you have to kind of figure out how to dodge that as they're going across. But that seems too hard. I don't know.
No, they would have to change how that works for that to be a thing that they would do on purpose design wise. It moves, the one in normal mode shoots too fast to have 2 separate ones going like opposite or the same directions from across the room.
They
don't make people do movements that are that tight generally.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't touched on is the smaller towers. They can do a lot with that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could do. Wait a minute, the smaller towers?
Yeah, like the ones that there's like 8 of them that show up at once. They're really weird because like if you get hit by the AoE afterwards, it's a doom. But if you get hit by the not donut, just the circle one, it's also like a stasis. It like puts you in jail for a couple seconds. It's but the donut one doesn't. It's, I don't know, it's weird. And they could do a bunch of like different things with it. Of like you have to look for the animation to see what it's doing. There could be more options than the circle and the donut.
Oh yeah, and they're probably all gonna be not the same thing at once.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
probably gonna be like circles over here and donuts over there, and the boss is probably doing something that makes you have to actually stand in the donut, and probably some of them are like shooting beams or some shit.
Oh, that makes sense. They love donuts.
They're never in the consistent shape or anything. Like you have to adjust into the towers and stuff.
They love donuts. They love Chariot, and they love donuts a lot.
It's a very good building block for making a fight.
It's in like every freaking fight, man. It's just everywhere. T9, man, it's never left us. Jeez, dude. All right. Well, okay, so we get into the third fight. We get back to our standard arenas, right?
Fatebreaker 2.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Fatebreaker 2. But like there's only 2. There's light and dark. Right? What else are they going to throw in there? Normal?
Or they don't.
They don't? They're just going to leave it light and dark? They're going to leave it very simple?
Yeah, I mean P7 only had, or E7 only had 2 colors.
The birds.
Yeah.
Birds? Oh yeah. I mean that's true, but Fatebreaker had 3. And this would be if we're going to correlate it on the same tier, right?
It's just similar mechanics. You've got the line AoEs and then various stacks and spreads and ins and outs.
It's kind of not possible to like theory craft super hard on the third boss. It's just too much basic attacks that could be morphed into anything realistically.
I think the only real thing you can be sure of is that they're going to do more creative stuff with the like light and dark balancing debuffs that force you into those circles. Like it's going to be more than just forcing you into the circles every now and again, for sure.
Any other thoughts on that, Alice?
No, that's it. There's not really anything to the normal mode.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it. Probably.
I hope he's
I
cool.
could see them giving you debuffs where you have to get hit by a certain light or dark. So like some people have to get hit and others don't, and maybe there's like multiple of them going on, and there's no safe spot, but you have to stand in one that fixes your color or whatever.
That so. If anyone's done Delubrum Savage, the temperature mechanic is a big. I think they might be doing that again.
I mean, they could do it where you have to toggle it multiple times, right?
Yep. exactly.
Yeah. Just like in a row, get hit by this, the next second get hit by this. You got to figure out how to end up with the right thing at the very end.
It's just a +1 -1 mechanic type fight where you just the boss sticks you on a lighter dark and you have to fix it somehow, probably.
No crazy theories on the chairs. Them doing anything interesting?
Okay, there are a lot. I could talk if we want to get into lore. I could talk for hours.
Okay.
I'll mention one thing real quick is that the wall in the background of the arena has a symbol on it that looks like an Ashian symbol, which would make sense for the convocation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not for any Ashian. It's actually for Ultima the High Seraph from Orbon Monastery.
So what does that mean?
I don't know.
There are 14 chairs, right? Yeah, and all that crazy stuff. They could do.
Like Final Fantasy 14.
Like Final
I get
Fantasy
it.
14. Yeah, man.
With 14 playable jobs.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I guess again, I have to wait on that. Has a basic arena, nothing too crazy to write home about there. But then we do get into the last one, which is not what I don't know. I wasn't expecting to fight a butterfly at the end.
Bug mommy.
Yeah, a moth. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it. I thought Athena would turn into something else, but why? Lore buff Nari. Why is Athena a moth?
Okay,
she likes butterflies.
I want to say it's criminal the way they got away with normalizing lore characters just randomly turning into like random boss models they have laying around.
Yeah.
They got away with normalizing it, and now everyone just accepts it.
Yeah,
well,
you ever notice how all the
Go ahead.
They can make a major lore character a boss fight and not have to like worry about it at all because they just turn into some random boss model they have laying around and it's just completely like accepted now. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's in lore. They all have a transformation into a true form and they can just make that whatever they want.
Yeah. Titania, you know? Alright. So going into this one, at least the arena's remotely interesting, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The arena's very different.
Mm-hmm. Before we actually got the fights, like before the patch dropped, the one thing I asked for, like the one thing I wanted was Titan again, and we are kind of getting a little bit of that.
Yeah. I feel like Titan was way better arena-wise. This is like a small taste of it. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what they do with it. All right, these platforms turn into books that swallow you, apparently, right? Did you guys see that too? Like they get teeth on the edges and they close
Not
it on
books, but just monsters.
They turn into monsters. Oh, I guess you're right.
She just alives them and then unalives them.
I forget the damage name is if you stand on that when they transform and they kill you, the damage name is like It's strange.
Yeah.
But I think it's supposed to be like she grants them a soul and now they can't float anymore or something. I don't know.
Floating platform will give you a soul. Well, your soul can't float.
She alives them and then they fall down and die.
You are now subject to gravity.
That's so weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's weird.
It doesn't make any sense. They could just say no gravity and it falls, but then they're like, well, we're going to make you... That's why we love Final Fantasy, right? Because they do stuff like that every once in a while. They're gonna do a lot of fun stuff with that, I'm sure. They're gonna the world is their oyster.
That fight's gonna be nuts. I can tell it already.
You think so?
There's so many like the super chain theory stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They set up so many, and the little like polyhedrons that turn into ads with the beams on the side. They set up so many basic mechanics that they can mix and match to their heart's desire that will just be nuts, like just absolute insanity. Super chain theory is going to be the puzzle wall of the fight for sure.
Okay. Do you think the go left, go right of the boss stuff, those rings being different colors is going to make any kind of difference?
It could. It's a very simple mechanic for a very dramatic
Yeah.
visual tell. So I don't know.
How much of my notebook should I open up here?
You don't have to. You have to give it all away. Alice, do you have any theories on this fight?
No, I'm just sort of on the same page. They did a lot of different things. There's a lot of different shapes. There's 2 kinds of different shapes even in that. And yeah, I mean, they
There'll
went out of their
probably be
way.
more than 2.
Yeah, probably. You can just add a third. It's not that hard. And then they went out of their way to show that they can go off at different times. So there's just so much they opened up.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna turn you up more, Alice. There we go. We're good. But I was also trying to figure out what their second phase to this fight could be, but I feel like I just don't even need to try, right? There's no way I would be able to predict it.
I don't want there to be a door boss.
You don't want there to be a door boss? You want it to be the same?
No. Like, door bosses are fine, and I get why they designed them, but we've just had so many in a row. I don't want one. And again.
I mean, it's standard now. It's just standard, right? Not like
yeah, but they were standard in Stormblood, and then we had E4 and E8, which weren't.
I don't really like door bosses.
Oh, well, you mean where like you like you don't want a checkpoint?
Yeah.
Well,
I want there to be a secret phase, but I don't want. Yeah, I don't want a door boss.
More so that I think it's obvious that they just want to make 5 bosses, and so they should just make 5 bosses.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'd be super down for a 5-fight tier.
Well, they don't really make. I think they're comfy not making 5 bosses because they're making like, 3 bosses and then 2 halves of a boss, right?
Or yeah, but the thing is, they just keep getting longer and more complicated. Where the fact that door bosses are usually harder than the boss that comes after them now.
Yeah, I've heard this opinion from a couple different people, and I tend to agree. Which is the 9-minute into 9-minute door boss into phase 2 is worse than, for example, 04, where it's like 3-minute door boss into a proper 12-minute savage fight. If they did that again, that's just better in my opinion than the recent door bosses.
Like just a super quick DPS mechanic check.
Yeah, quick little check. Like you know what they should do? They should bring back Faust.
Yeah, Faust did a really good job. Although
it all starts with Faust.
Faust was only the first door boss, man.
First our door boss was 30 seconds, and then it was like a minute and a half, and then it was like 2 minutes. Then it was like 60 seconds again with Faust Z, and then Xdeath was like 4 minutes, and then Kefka was like 6 minutes, and then MMF was like 8 minutes, and now they're just getting longer and harder, and now they have to make the second boss easy because the door boss is so hard now.
What if
just reset, go back to Faust?
What if we have like a 12-minute door boss and then like a 4-minute?
What's the point?
No.
What is the point? No.
Just a home run, man. That's all it is.
You might as well just do Shiva then, where she powers up.
I would rather just have 5 bosses at that point.
Would you guys, besides even like if you had like a small door boss and then a longer boss, would you rather have just another E8S where it's just, you have like a little bit of a break in the middle of it and then you go into it?
No, dude. A 15-minute fight where you have to watch Shiva have sex with a dragon for 2 minutes every pull.
I didn't mind it. I'm acknowledging that I'm in the minority of that though. Like a lot of people just don't like that. That one was too long.
I didn't mind it. It gave me time to recalibrate for a second. Just have that moment of zen that, hey, we finally got to this point or whatever, we beat the ads and all that great stuff.
In my opinion, E4 Titan is the very good version of that, where you have this like cool technical first phase and then a little break. Like it's not a full-on Shiva cutscene. You get like 20 seconds or however long it is that he transforms into Big Titan.
Mhm.
And then you get a cool, puzzly second phase. And then you go back and you get another third phase that's like a little bit of a home stretch. And then the problem with Titan, of course, being the instances memes that was when it was getting progged was terrible. And then the final stretch just being like 2 minutes of raid wides is not great. But everything before that, I think, is like a really, really good pacing for what a boss should be in this game.
Mm.
How long is Titan again?
I don't
Do
remember.
you know?
I
I
can look it up.
forgot.
Is it like 12 or?
I look it up.
I want to say it's like in the 12 range. A
Mm.
little long.
I mean, it does feel like they do want to start mechanic heavy on a lot of their fights and then get into just the puzzles afterwards, right? And kind of slow down. It seems to be the general design. I mean, they did that with Top for sure, right? That was execution heavy, really, really early on, and then had the puzzles a lot later.
Yeah, of course. This is like classic Final Fantasy boss design that we've had for years now. The early parts will be like simple stuff that happens rapid fire and it's like hard, and then after that they'll start debuff vomit phases where the boss just pukes out 8 debuffs and you wipe and you look at a video for 25 minutes and then you pull again. And also every boss will usually spend way too long between mechanics doing nothing but auto attacks for 15 seconds, and then a raid wide, and then auto attacking for 10 seconds, and then a tank buster, and then he does a 10-second cast bar, and then all the debuffs come out. You know, this is classic stuff at this point.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. Titan was 13 and a half minutes, but the fight was basically over at like 12.
Mm. Oy.
I was just asking about that because I
Mhm.
think like you can't make a fight too much harder than Titan for a pug, because then you start pushing it to a level of difficulty that rivals Ultimate, even if it's a bit shorter.
Hmm.
And I don't think people would like that.
I don't know. I mean, that gets into the debate is if the last Savage fight should be easy to do in Party Finder, or should it be like really hard to do in Party Finder, right?
That
Yeah, but
that's a
sort
whole
of-
nother level of debate almost.
Yeah.
That's sort of why they justify the door boss, though, is like you just have to do one half at a time
Mm.
perfectly.
It's not even a half. The both bosses are like 9-10 minutes long. It's just 2 bosses, but you don't get anything for the first
Yeah.
one.
It's 16.
All right. But no major predictions on what the phase 2 is going to be for this fight. Like, there's just no way to really predict it at all. I like, again, didn't know thinking it would be a moth, so I don't know if that I predict what the next transformation would be.
All I know is that the door boss is going to be way harder, and the second boss is just going to have debuff vomit phases and auto attack in between.
Okay.
If
Based.
there even is a second phase. Opium.
Maybe no second phase, right? Maybe just go straight through. We'll see. This is the last. It'll be the last Savage boss, big raid 8-player boss, that we'll see for the rest of this expansion. So I'm just hoping it goes out with a good bang. I mean, was E12S, a pretty good send off to Shadowbreakers already?
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It was fine.
Okay.
I don't think the finale is that great.
No?
I just don't really like P2. Like,
Mhm.
I think natural alignment is more interesting than Apocalypse. Basically,
Yes.
was what it comes down to.
Oh, you mean for P8S? Yeah, no, I was
Like, even just comparing that.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Man, the problem is, like, again, I don't want to think too much on it because I just feel like I'm going to be disappointed in the end. I don't know. There's. Go ahead.
I'm protecting myself from that. I'm setting expectations low, but I am hopeful that it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can't be disappointed.
It's better to not look into it too closely and just let yourself be surprised. But
I will say. Oh, go ahead.
For performance reasons, me and my group still have to like sit down and write out all the possibilities and like the
Mhm.
order of operations for them and stuff. But
How-
it's better to not do that, I think, if you just want to have fun.
How often does that pay off for you in the race to do that, this normal mode? Because you guys, I'm guessing, all have spent a lot of time in normal mode this last week. How often does that information pay off for you in the end?
Very rarely.
I think it
But
depends
when it
on
does,
the types of
it's
mechanics.
a very large time save.
Yeah, exactly. If something manages to pay off, it's huge. So it's worth it.
Okay. So it's sort of like a huge time sink for the possibility of a small time save.
Right, but like, what else are we gonna do in this week?
That's true. You're not wrong.
There's nothing better to do.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, how much time are you guys dedicating to normal mode this week? Like, is it like 8 hours a day, or is it like, you guys went in maybe a couple times and stopped, or what?
We did the normal modes on our mains, and then on our alt for like the double clear for Criterion. And then we did Gold Bez Extreme for our mains and our alts, and we haven't rated since. We just talk in our group chat.
Okay.
I go into the normal mode by myself, and I write down the name of everything and what they do, and then we talk about it for all day in the group chat. But we don't actually play the game.
That's
hardly.
Nari,
Are you including talking time?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it just adds on a lot for a bunch of us, I think, because like doing the normal is pretty boring. But like we'll still do it a bunch. But talking, I think we spend more time talking about it than actually being in.
I guess a better way to phrase that is, how much time do you spend dedicating to discussing and figuring out and planning what could be in these fights?
Well, Zep spends a lot of time with theorizing stuff, especially. He's always got something cooking in the back.
Okay. Alice,
but we don't actually like all do it together. We kind of just all are doing our own thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Nari, is that the same for your group, or do you guys get together?
No, it's pretty much exactly the same. The exception being in Kindred, we are crazy people and we do quad splits instead of normal double splits. So we have 4 characters to do the normal modes on instead of 2.
So you guys are doing splits?
Not to get we do splits to get gear faster, so we can start doing speedrunning, because Kindred also does speedrunning once the tiers in swing.
Okay, so not for the race, but more for the...
No.
Okay,
it's for like for like 4 weeks later when we can start doing speedrun optimization.
You run 4 alts to speedrun faster. We run 2 alts to stop playing the game after 4 weeks. We are not the same.
Oh shit, dude. All right. Well, I mean, like, I guess that's...
But yeah, it's the same. We play through it. We play through the normals on our characters just to get them unlocked, and then we might go back in again once to do some experimentation and like note all the mechanics. But yeah, outside of that, it's just speculation every now and again.
Got it. Well, what else do you guys do to prep for the race? I mean, I know Neverland just wakes up and maybe brushes their teeth and goes for it, right?
Oh, brushing your teeth is huge performance buff. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, good. I hope
Sometimes on breaks, I'll just like get up and go brush my teeth because you just focus better when you feel clean. I don't know.
No, I mean that is true. You start to feel a little icky, right? You sweat a little too much. You're like, man, I need to go change my underwear or something. Yeah, I gotcha.
It's true.
Okay.
No, we just make sure everyone's prepared. Like, you've got food, your sleep schedule is proper, and you're not dead tired for the day. We are going to be waking up like early before the race actually starts to do the tome farm, so we have that extra piece of tome gear. But besides that, yeah.
Nice.
What time are you guys going to bed after this? How many hours are you going to bed?
I am going to bed in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fun. Is your sleep schedule working out? Is that actually working out for you guys?
Yeah, so far it is working for me.
It's not
Melatonin
too hard for
is
me.
beautiful.
Man, I wish I could change my sleep schedule like that. I could spend like months trying to do it and I couldn't do it. I don't know what it is. It's just as soon as the race starts, we get close to it, my brain won't go to sleep. It just it keeps thinking about the race and all the different things that I have to worry about. And so I usually don't sleep for about 48 hours or so. Like I don't sleep until I pass out after the race is a little bit stable. But it's tough, man. The race is tough to track when it first happens. Because everybody's clearing the first fight and the second fight so rapidly and trying to keep up with all that stuff, and so I'm just begging for like the third fight and the fourth fight to like come so I could just like take a little bit of a chill pill.
Rossi's just like, oh god, please let the second boss be really hard.
Yeah, please. It'd be so great. You know, I have hold on. My sinuses have been really messed up. I have data on all of those previous fights and how long they've taken. And
I love
compiled it.
data.
And it's interesting. Out of all the fights, Creator is what it looks like it took the longest. And it was the lowest of that tier. We have never been to that point again, from what I've seen.
There's I have seen similar data to that, and there's an extra thought of just like the player base and the teams have gotten so much better now that we are used to the game, their design philosophies, and like have been playing for a decade, or the player base in general, not necessarily everyone specifically, but just the quality of players is better. So even if the fights are harder, like everyone's good. Especially now that ultimates are out and people are like getting really good at the game.
Right.
Like yeah, the savages are gonna stay pretty short.
Let me see if I could throw something on the screen real quick. I'll throw some times on there. Let me see if I can find this one. Yeah, I think this one. I'll throw it on the screen.
That's a pretty like known issue in like MMOs in general, or just in games in general. Like players just get
Too good.
Yeah, especially in games where they're still trying to design content for like the average player, because as time goes on, the skill gap between like the average player and like the best players just gets like way too large for them to ever be able to both be designed for at the same time. It's like a known issue in a lot of game design.
Yeah. So looking at a lot of these times here, Creator definitely up there for sure. The Deltascape and Alphascape were much shorter in comparison. Alphascape jumped back up. Then Eden's Gate, super short. Probably the easiest one, it looks like. One of the easiest ones.
Sense.
Yeah. And that, I mean, to be fair, that was coming off of like a 2-week gap from when the expansion was released. And then Eden's Verse, Eden's Promise, taking it close to around the same amount of time. The thing is, like on Eden's Promise, Fatebreaker actually, right, took longer than a lot of the second turns. Most of the second turns are actually shorter than the first turns, from what I've seen.
I was about to bring that up. That's interesting.
Yeah. And I think, well, I mean, the reason for that for most of these is because we didn't have the normals unlocked, right? I think it's one of the big deals is that normal.
That makes sense.
Yeah, when the raids were released, only at the very beginning of an expansion did we have that, and then yeah, it was E10, I guess. Yeah, E10, not.
Hey, I think something is wrong with your Deltascape bars. That blue bar on Deltascape should be flat.
It took, all right, the people who did clear it first in one swipe, right, couldn't log in fast enough, so it took a little bit longer.
I don't know about
No,
that.
I think it's the normal modes that you were just mentioning.
Yeah,
the
it was
first
normal
factoring
modes.
in the normal mode. Although it's interesting then that Abyssos, where we didn't, or although yeah, like Asphodelos and Abyssos, we didn't have that, and the first turn still took longer.
Yeah.
Although P6 was really easy, so that makes sense.
It was.
Kindred's clear of P6, our first clear, we had 16 deaths in Prague and still cleared. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, ours was the same way.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
think we managed to do one mechanic without a damage down on our first kill.
We got lucky. We saw Cachexia 2 once. A healer managed to live. We healer beat 3 and cleared that pull.
That sounds about right.
yeah, well, I will say there is a normal trend of actually the last tier taking the longest. It seems like, and so except for creator, the only exception because I don't have Midas on here, and I don't have you know, the A4 on here. So like it's I'm hoping that this one takes longer than the last one. And if it does, it goes into day 2. And so with that being said, are you expecting a day 2?
Personally, yes, probably.
Okay.
I don't like. That's not a hard prediction. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a day 1, but yeah, I think if I had to guess, I would say it's probably a day 2, especially after last year.
I mean,
I'd be disappointed if it was day 1.
well, I mean,
Yeah, that's actually true. I would probably be a little sad.
it sucks how like that is literally something you have to debate and call, right? And so it's, I think Savage is one of the biggest challenges with Savage. You guys can tell me wrong, is knowing when to stop, right? And I don't know, Narrlocke, you have a lot more experience with this than I do, of course. But do me a favor, could you guys just send me a message and say when I could, like, if I could safely go to sleep or not? I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. If it's like, sure, yeah, I can do that. I'll message you like.
I won't tell
this isn't
anybody. I
looking
just want to
too
go to
hard.
sleep.
Yeah, I can do that.
I would like it.
I'm just thinking on what my group has like written down for the normal modes so far and like how we did on the last Savage tier. I think it might take less time than last year. But
You think
I don't
so?
know for sure. I mean, there's no way to know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how I feel about it. I think it might be a little faster, but
I do hope. My hope is that it would at least take the second day. Because I do want to see that, right? I want to see some level of rating going from just like, man, it hurt when, what tier was it that took 12 hours? 13, 14 hours or something recently?
oh, pull the graph up.
Let me pull the graph up again. Hold on. I think it was. Oh my god, yeah, it was. So Eden's Gate was pretty rough. That was about 12 hours. Or no, that was. Sorry, that was like 10 hours or so. I guess I don't know. No. This is sorry.
You gotta stack them all.
You-
on top.
Yeah,
right,
you have to
yeah.
stack them all on top of each other. But yeah, Eden's Gate was like 14-ish hours, I guess. Maybe I need to get that in our graph
Is
where
this
it's all stacked.
is this world firsts like times?
Yeah, this is the very first. Yeah, world first players.
That Delta Escape one definitely looks really sus because I know there are at least 6 groups that one shot outright, but
They didn't
I
do it
remember on,
immediately though. The
No,
world
it's
first
it's
wasn't.
including the normal raids.
Yeah.
The first, yeah.
oh, you
It's
said
it's
including the
from
normal
from
raids.
server up to that tier.
Yeah.
They had to do the normal raids first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see. That makes sense.
yeah.
I just some of this is also like outliers as well because I remember in Delta Escape, I remember Anger just absolutely destroying first place. Like, and it wasn't close. They got first like 12, 13 hours or whatever, and then the next group was like a whole 12 hours after that. I think I don't remember exactly, but I remember it was massive.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these might be outliers. Who knows?
Yeah, and you can see the ones that are like really big. So I guess we could really do this, right? The floor 4 clears, the ones that are really big, took more than 1 day. So I mean that's really it.
Yeah.
All the other ones took 1 day, and so Alphadelos took 1 day, Abyssos took 2 days, Eden's Promise took 2 days, Eden's Verse took 2 days, Eden's Gate took 1 day, Alphascape took 2 days. So logically, we could expect it to be 2 days, but I don't know. It just depends on if they felt like too much feedback from the previous. I mean, we have all these extra things to add in there, right? You don't have to do normal anymore. You already have a preview into the mechanics a week before it comes out, and you also have all your gear ready to go.
Including a torso this time going into the last
Yeah.
tier.
including if the I guess if is torso bested slot for everybody to get, or is
No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, you only get one, so you only have to be vested in slot for one person.
Yeah.
Also that.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean it's one of those things where there's a lot of elements to it. Even though we had all this last time, it still took more than one day on the previous tier.
Well, I think what Nar was alluding to, correct me if I'm wrong, but Alphascape was very high there. And then Promise is a little bit lower, and then As Fidelis is a bit lower than that. And all of those are sort of designed similarly, where they will have a big Hello World type puzzle mechanic. And I think what you were trying to say was like you learn how to approach these mechanics, right?
That's what I was referring to as debuff vomit. It's basically like Grand Cross.
No, but I meant like what you wrote
stuff.
down. What you guys are talking about
Oh
writing
yeah,
down.
we'll like
is
write
the
down
way
like
you
all the
approach
possible
mechanics.
similarities, or like all the possible adjustments they can make to the mechanic, and then with the combination of the possibilities, and then what order we're
Right.
gonna try things in each combination of each possibility. Like generally, like we have a
Like
we don't necessarily write it down, but we talk about it beforehand, right?
We as raiders have gotten better at progressing that kind of mechanic.
Yes.
No. I guess if there is a door boss, this fight gets cleared 10 times faster, right? No doubt. Or do you think if there?
Well, then there's Shiva.
Well, yeah.
Although that is maybe skewed by the fact that every pull has a minute-long cutscene in it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let's just say I'm hoping for 2 days.
We'll see.
Possibly not. And I will say I'm going to take a quick moment to go over this real quick and go on this random tangent. It's not random. It's I'm hoping it lasts longer because I don't want the first clear to happen and personally on my side for the events is everything, and then the second day we're going to wait because the stream is going to wait for 3 clears before we end it. First 3 on stream clears. So that gives us a lot of time, and the reason why we're doing that is because we're giving out 3 levels of prizes for the first 3 teams that clear it. And I need to go over this because this is an update to our prize stuff that we're doing. Too, if you guys don't mind me doing it real quick.
Go for it.
All right, we actually got some custom controllers made for this that we're gonna give out. Battle Beaver, who recently did one for PvP, put together this PlayStation 5 controller, and it's not like a controller, unfortunately, for like every single player, but each team, the first, second, and third, will get a controller that's custom made for this tier, this whole raid cycle, and then we're gonna give one away for as a donation incentive. But let me show them on the screen real quick. Hold tight. You know what? Let me do it the fancy way. Let me put studio mode on, turn this on, then oh crud, I have to put this above your images now. Hold on, I got it. Good thing I waited. All right. So now to do it this way. And so this is the controller that they made. And basically just a token for the teams, and they could choose whoever it would be sent to and everything else. But we got 4 of these, man.
Cool.
Yo, I use a PS5 controller. That thing looks cool.
It looks pretty freaking amazing.
That's slick.
I use a red PS5 controller. Yo, give me that.
Dude, you gotta stream. You gotta stream.
Sounds like they're streaming.
But yeah, no, dude, it's really amazing. Like they did one for the PvP event that we put on recently, and it's like holy crap, dude. And even if we could get one for like all 8 players, not all 8 players would use it. I know all 8 players would probably appreciate it, but maybe sometime in the future. But yeah, this is kind of just like a cool little thing that they were able to help us out with, and hopefully people are excited for it. All right, let me turn that off. Yeah, there's that. I'll do a little shout out right here in chat for them too. And boom. Okay. But yeah, no, that's cool. La Habrea themed controller, basically. I didn't know what it was going to look like in the end, but it's simple design, sleek looking. It has like these rear controllers that you can reprogram to be whatever you need it to be, triggers, whatever. So pretty cool.
The finish on it looks really clean.
It
like
is
the edges and
good,
everything.
man. Yeah, it looks so
It looks
sharp.
like really well constructed.
Yeah, I am absolutely really impressed with what they were to do, and they get like a really good photo shoot of it and everything. So kudos to those guys, man. All right, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I'll go over the prizes at the very end. They have a whole like slew of prizes for the first and second as well, and we'll go over that more. I did announce some of that already, but yeah, the event I'm hoping lasts. We get the clear on day 2, and then we'll get the first, second, and third stream clear. It could be first on stream, I don't know. But those 3 clears all happen within day 2. That'd probably be ideal. But yeah, we want to track all the way into the 3rd clear. Which normally isn't too far behind. It's not too terribly far behind. Sometimes it's like 4 or 5 hours, right?
Not lately, at least.
Yeah. So it should be pretty good.
I'm curious if you guys have point of views for JP teams.
We have Lucrezia, but it's not the same Lucrezia, I think. Back from like Bahamut days, T13 days.
Yeah.
Is it the Lucrezia from Bahamut, the other one from Stormblood?
No, not UCOB. I think that was a whole different group too, sort of. I mean, it wasn't a whole different group, but it's members from that Lucrezia. No Ace probably will be racing as well. I haven't reached out to him. I need to reach out to them. So there's gonna be some JP teams, yeah, that we'll have point of views of. We'll also have I don't know yet. We'll see. There might be some teams from China too. It's a lot harder to get that going than it is for the JP team. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're gonna see. Yeah, I got Lucrezia actually has 2 teams. So, we'll see how that works out too. Go ahead.
The strat to win Frosty's prizes is to start labeling like 5 to 10 teams all as Neverland, and if one of them wins, we can all share the prizes.
I mean, yeah.
Proper guilds rolling again.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, if Lucrezia has like 5 teams, and but they have to be streaming. So I mean, technically, unless if you're really good at playing multiple characters, like you could see obviously the difference. Like you can't like have one team then go pilot another team and pilot another team. Like you see a natural progression there. So that's how that all works out.
That's crazy. I think we just changed our name to Lucrezia. Isn't that wild how that worked out?
Okay. But yeah, no, those controllers are there. There's Corsair gear and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, streaming, and I talked about this recently in the last race, and I'm kind of like going back a little bit here, and we are going to be having tracking for all the teams that want to be tracked at least. But there's going to be notation streaming versus not streaming because there's just so much conflict out there right now, and man, Narrlocke, you're no stranger to getting like shit on, right? To be honest with you.
Dude,
Yeah.
We got really tired of that
Yeah.
stupid conversation, and some people in my group aren't comfortable with like live streaming as we're doing it, but we did end up agreeing on we're all going to be streaming to a private VOD, and then as soon as we clear, we'll click it to public so people can look at the whole prog if they want.
I mean, that's a great idea.
The compromise that we came up with.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys are doing that.
Yeah. Because right now, there are so many of the just like naysayers, like no matter what, you can't win. You can't win even with streaming. You can't win.
No, you can't. No,
it's just like somebody streaming and they have like some plugins. It's like, oh, this guy's using plugins. Start reporting him. And then someone's streaming and they don't have plugins. He's like, oh, well, he could just be hiding his plugins. Report him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We had all 8 POVs. With Kindred has always had all 8 POVs streamed somewhere, and whether that's Twitch or not, but we still get accusations all the time. It's wild. It won't end.
Some of it isn't invalid, right? Like, some people aren't wrong to have concerns, but there are some people who will, no matter what you do, they'll invent a reason to be upset. So
yeah,
you can't win 100% of the time.
Like if you put cute mounts at the end of a Savage or something like that.
Yeah. If it's not, oh, you're using plugins, or you're hiding your plugins, or you're not using plugins, but someone in your group might be using plugins, or having a Discord stream is a plugin, or whatever.
I mean, in the end, I mean, there's the way that I've always treated it is that like I just have to trust that no one's like doing crazy hacking, speed hacking, amazing craziness in the background, and for the most part, I don't think anything that, at least with the teams that have gotten first, those teams haven't had anything that was like overly like, oh well, they were obviously cheating. Sorry, I just high-fived you guys trying to fix my camera. Hold on.
Are we allowed to talk about that? Are you sure?
No, well, I mean, I'm not going to like talk about it too much. I'm just going to say that like in general, like the conversation, Square Enix is like no plugins, not good, right? And ideally that's their stance on it. That's how it is. But for the World Race, that's not been my concern. It's been that the World Race people do what they do, and like whatever the community feels is fair and valid is what we go forward with. Because that's the way to handle it. I mean, at a time, ultra-wide monitors, right?
Yeah,
was a huge deal. I had so many people complain to me about that. I'm like, what do I do, right?
You can just grab the bottom of your window and pull it up, and it's the same thing. But
yeah, I mean, I guess so.
It's not real. That's not really. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it's like there is an advantage to a point, but like you can't standardize it, obviously, so it's not worth complaining
Well,
about.
the advantage is that your camera stretches farther to the left and the right, but you can just do that with a window on a regular monitor too,
Right.
if you really cared that much about it. So it's not like that crazy.
It's another example of people getting mad because they want to get mad.
Yeah. And so to that point, the conversation is never going to end. It's always going to be the same stuff, and I do think that like streaming offline is not like a. I love when people stream online. I think it's great, but at the same time, hey man, my event goes longer if the team takes longer to clear it too, right? So I can't be too upset about that. But I do think that people should be able to feel comfortable narrating, and we're just so used to it. There's the whole argument of the arms race in the background and whatever else, but I do think there is a level of, it is absolutely overblown. There is shit out there, right? But I think that it's not as bad as like the community's turning it out to be. So that's why I'm going back to the whole thing of like we just need to track it the way we've been tracking it. And just put notations in there for this team. Streaming, not streaming, whatever. This is where you can find their VODs if you want to, and go forward with that.
I don't know, man. That whole it's just that whole thing is just so exhausting that it's always just there. All I know is that my group we talked about, and we were like, well, we don't want anything to do with any of this like stuff. So we just all agreed like nobody's using quick launcher and nobody's using ACT triggers or anything, just like for our own sake, because it's just it's like just emotionally exhausting, like just being in the peripheral of that, because people are so angry about that stuff. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's some level of like, I'm not gonna go too much deeper into I probably shouldn't, but at the same time, there is like if someone's doing something egregious and they wouldn't have won because they completely hacked the game somehow, they shouldn't be on there, right? But if they are just playing the games and are being really strong gamers, then I don't know. We saw some really crazy shit the last race. We saw some horrible shit. People did a lot of stuff to emphasize it, but I don't think a lot of that stuff was any part of the world first teams. That's like stuff people weeks later use to clear it because they don't have any other way to clear this fight.
Sometimes.
I don't know. That's how I don't know.
I'm not like the type of person to say whether or not people are like right or wrong about it, or if they're like stupid or whatever, right? Like, people are allowed to have their own opinions, but all I say is that people get really angry about it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, there's that information. I'm still mentally distressed from the last race and how all that went down. Just because I feel so horrible for what happened to that team. No matter what someone's doing, whether it's wrong or right, no one should be treated to the degree that that team got treated and bombarded. So I feel pretty miserable about that. All right. That being said, we're going on to the race. You guys have adjusted your sleep schedule. We got all the prep stuff and everything. When you I feel like this is such a stupid question to ask every single. What are you guys eating for Prague?
I haven't decided yet. What should I eat? Can I get some ideas?
Bananas?
Fruits and nuts. Yeah.
Bananas.
Bananas?
Are
Yeah.
bananas good for you?
It is, isn't it?
Bananas are a great snack.
Oh, I do like bananas.
So this is my 4th race now. I think I started in DSR. It was my first race, and every time, and I think I'm going to keep it a tradition now. I make a very large pot of chili, and that's my meals for the whole.
Chili? Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know how safe that is.
It's good, and
Oh.
it reheats very quickly, so I can just stand up and like put it
That's
down.
a higher risk.
I mean, does that add to like the
I mean, it's
bathroom
worked so
time?
far. No,
No, okay.
not yet.
All right.
That's my strat, and then I just have a billion snacks.
Okay. Beef jerky?
That's decent. I use peanut butter pretzels and nuts and fruits, and banana is a good one.
My go-to is usually fried rice.
That's a good one.
That's a pretty good one. What's in the fried rice though?
Just the usual stuff like
Carrots,
veggies, sometimes
scallions,
chicken,
onions.
like peas, broccoli.
Ugh.
Peas.
Peas are so bad, dude. Peas are like the worst vegetable to exist, man.
What?
They're horrible. They just taste like garbage. Literal garbage.
How does it feel to be objectively wrong, Frosty?
I don't know. Apparently, I'm just used to it at this point. But like,
I'm gonna sick 2chan on you for this.
go ahead.
Then you'll
Green
really be
peas
sorry.
are bad, man. They're just like vomit balls. I don't know, man. The only way that I can eat them is if they're like dried and surrounded with wasabi. Then I can eat those. But like, yeah. I don't know.
But if you cover it in hot sauce, then it's like it barely even counts. I can just cover anything in Frank's Red Hot sauce and it'll be good because you can't taste it anymore.
not sponsored by Frank's, but yeah, that's good hot sauce, dude.
I do love Frank's.
Yeah.
I keep some of it around everywhere.
Yep. All right.
I don't use it that often, but it's always an option.
Do you in your teams? Do you have like a discussion on what you guys are like allowed to do, not allowed to do when it comes to food? Like, are you not allowed to drink too much soda? You're not allowed to drink too much something. Try to keep you all healthy and focused.
We don't really talk that much. So usually our group chat will be like completely completely silent for like a week, and then someone will ping like someone be like, "Hey, I need a weapon on my alt. Let's do this time." And then everyone does a thumbs up emoji and nobody says anything, and then everyone just shows up to raid and does the raid without saying a word.
You guys sound like just like some coworkers, right? Not really friends.
I don't think anyone hates each other. I think we get along just fine, but they're just a quiet bunch of people. I talk way more than the rest of them.
Maybe that's why you're on the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny. But no, Nari, Alice.
No, we don't micromanage. Like, you're not allowed to order food. Like that was something that happened in the DSR race because we weren't like really expecting to be racing. People didn't have food ready. But no, like you have to be ready and prepped. But whatever that means to you is that's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we try to have like guidelines. It's like regarding caffeine and stuff, but there's nothing set in stone.
Okay. Just advisement, like, hey, don't drink something that's gonna fuck you over. You know your body. Make sure you're good.
Yeah, you need to be able to sleep, obviously.
Yeah. Luckily, only for one night, if that.
Well,
right?
probably.
Yeah. Well, there's also what about chatter during the during the race? Do you have to call for mic silence?
Have you watched our stream?
I have. You know,
we do not shut up.
To be fair, the streams on the World Race are all muted, so it's
no. If you go to any of our POVs, Kindred, we know when we need to shut up. Like if we need a serious pull or like we're in a new mechanic, we're good about it. But
yeah,
there's so many memes just all the time.
I bet Neverland just doesn't talk at all. They just stay silent the whole time.
I mean, we talk during like prog and stuff. But you're just asking about like people talking about what they wanted to like eat or whatever. We don't really talk about that stuff. I think the expectation is just everyone shows up and doesn't die to easy mechanics, and then when whoever dies less to easy mechanics wins. That's generally just how it goes.
Okay.
So people like people are just expected to know how to handle themselves. I think mostly.
Okay. Alice, do you have like a shut up button or anything in your group?
Sometimes. I'll say sometimes because obviously I'm not the most talkative person, but they like to chatter and go on, and sometimes we have to be like, okay guys, let's finish the conversation and then we can have fun. But that's a natural thing. You start to ramble and then it's all just like finish the topic and then do whatever.
Okay. I guess I should like actually answer your question. I don't think we tell each other to be quiet really. Like it's usually talking isn't a problem in our group because they're all really good at multitasking. So like usually people will be like having an in-depth discussion about some mechanic we're progging, like some like Grand Cross looking shit or whatever. And usually people will be like screen sharing paint on the other screen and like drawing paint and talking about the mechanic while we're doing the first half of the fight. So that's usually talking isn't an issue in there. But I have been in groups where people get very excited and talk a lot during prog. Like it's very natural that people want to talk a lot during prog. So it's like no, I don't think anyone takes it personally when they're like asked to talk less. I don't know. At least I don't.
Right.
It's very natural.
What are some of the other questions here? Pre-prog questions, things to think about that have come up in the shows over the years. I know talking food, all that stuff is usually a big part of it. Getting sleep, taking breaks is the other one where some say breaks aren't allowed, right? Unless if it's like a scheduled break, right? You don't take unscheduled breaks. But
you sync up the bio breaks. That's the strat. If one person needs to take a bio break, then everyone does.
Yeah, if someone BRBs, everyone needs to get up and BRB. Just go out of your way to find something to do while people aren't there. It usually works out.
And you time limit it? I guess you say, hey, 5 minutes back, no matter what.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's just however long people need. Like, you can't really help it that much. Besides to try not to. But
depends how much chili you had, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, if someone needs to get up, they need to get up until they can come back, right? So it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's different per race too. Like Ultimate being the marathon that it is, the week-long stretch, we had like scheduled, this is mealtime break, we're gonna break for an hour, all that, like that kind of thing. But Savage, no, there's no planned breaks at all. You're expected to eat while we're pulling and everything. Like if we need a break, then we should try and sync up our breaks, but there's nothing planned.
Yeah, man. Eat a bite of fried rice while the boss auto attacks for 10 seconds.
Exactly.
That's the raid wide. There's plenty of time.
Exactly.
So do you order I gotta ask, do you order your fried rice like the day before, or like do you make it yourself?
Sometimes I make it. Sometimes I just get like frozen ones that you make in the microwave or whatever.
Oh.
But sometimes I make it though.
Okay. All right. As long as you know how to make it.
Oh, yeah. I usually get chicken breasts and like dice it up and put it into. Ooh, I love.
You put any MSG or anything in it?
No, nothing fancy.
Kind of need the MSG, man. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, Alice, what about breaks for your group?
We just wing it. But you guys don't take like shower breaks if you're getting tired?
You shower before.
No, but I'm saying like to wake yourself up. You guys don't do that?
No, not really.
Hmm.
Sometimes I jump in the
caffeine.
shower for like 2 minutes while someone BRBs. I'll like get up and rip my clothes off and jump in the shower and like scrub myself down real quick and jump out and run back. I've definitely done that.
Fair enough.
And I mean,
yeah,
at the same
did that in
time too,
Ultimate.
right?
Oof,
So I mean,
good thing I
works.
wear breakaway pants every day.
Yeah, I mean, I did that in Ultimate. Like, I would I'd like cook dinner and then like, yeah, take like a 2-minute shower. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't expect to do it in Savage.
I'm
A day and
giving
a
people
half.
strats here. Huh.
I mean, yeah. Maybe I'll go splash water on my face.
You never taken your pants off and ran to the bathroom at the same time? Surely you've had one instance in your life where this was a necessity.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, jeez. All right. Is there anything like, I guess, unexpected that you guys or different about this race that's coming up that we haven't had previously? I mean, it's pretty much the exact same as the last one, right? Savage wise.
Sorry, I don't mean to be so off topic, but I deadass thought you were about to say, is there anything unexpected that you're expecting?
Okay, anything that would be unexpected to me that you are expecting, unusual expectations, I don't know. Sorry, I phrased that horribly. That's okay, that's my brand. So, but yeah, we learned.
I think it'll be good.
I mean, I guess maybe the best way to phrase that is that we had the experience of how Savage was released last time. Anything that we learned from that last release of Savage that we're going to apply towards this race?
Play better. No,
True.
there's not
Okay.
really anything super exotic so far.
Yeah.
It seems about the current tier. It seems like pretty standard stuff for the most
Okay.
part.
I do have one thing, but it's not related to mechanics. It's just the specific words they use were coffers will not contain dupes. It doesn't say anything about floors 2 and 3 medium pieces or the
That's true.
largest.
Oh yeah, there's a big question mark about what actually is going to be in the third floor chest, if it still
Yeah.
has a boots
Yes.
or not, or whatever, right? But
There was also like I know I saw at least one person that thinks that the third floor will have a chance for torso, but it's not guaranteed or something like that. I don't know. There is a question mark there. It was never said explicitly what it's going to be. So
Yeah, that is weird. How do you guys feel about that loot change?
it's good.
I don't know.
Depends.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I think right as it is right now, any loot change that makes it easier for people to gear, especially gear multiple jobs, I think is good.
I agree with that. It's just if both larges are not guaranteed, then there are problems with
Yeah.
the race.
Yeah, because I mean,
So
somebody
I
could get better
hope they
RNG,
didn't do
right?
that.
Chest won't be RNG. There's no way.
Well, it's not chest that I'm worried about.
What about the legs?
I mean, they didn't say the legs were guaranteed, but they also like didn't say that there's a medium at all, or that it couldn't be a dupe.
Right. Like if one team gets like a hand from 6 and a hand from 7 versus another team getting a hand from 6 and a feet from 7,
Yeah.
then the one team got the stack harder on their melee.
I mean, that would only matter to like the tiniest degree, right? If the DPS check is like really hard, or if like
Everything
HP check-
matters.
It's hard.
I mean-
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say.
I mean, you could say that too with some level. Well, I guess a lot of RNG was removed when they stopped actually dropping loot, and it's all just.
No,
True.
It wouldn't matter that much.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
was a very small difference.
I don't know,
What
man.
job
We had
you're
a
playing would
0.1%
matter
in
more.
rage in the last tier and would have killed
I
many
like
hours
to-
earlier.
I like to I like to think of it from the perspective of would the difference be greater or larger than natural damage variance or greater or larger than crit variance? And if either of those is true, it doesn't really matter because you can
No.
just crit.
I mean, crit variance is kind of disturbing. I am so tired of crit.
That's the same reason that like I'm a tank player. I'm a tank main, and I play a Lalafell. That's not that is the worst possible race I could pick for that. But it doesn't matter because it's not enough variance to it's not enough stats to care. And this might that might be in the same vein of that. It's
Why
like,
don't Pensa melt? You know.
okay, that matters a little bit more than what we're talking about, but
Yeah. I know. I'm just cheap, and I'm not in. I don't world race, so I can get away with it.
I mean, everything matters, but I guess I've never been a big fan of the blaming crit variance.
No.
Like,
no, I don't
point of
ever
view,
blame
because
it.
if something is like a 1% increase, for example, and your variance is like, you're hitting for like 95 to 105, you just say, oh well, you could just like crit, but the difference is you're going from 95 to 105 or 96 to 106, right? You're still like critting more or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's still the entire range moves up, so it's still
It is a
matters,
gain,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
If you're critting and having less gear, you're gonna do more damage. If you're critting and also having more gear, right?
That's what I mean. I don't, for clarity, I don't like blame crit variance for anything, but that's exactly what I mean. Like these tiny differences do matter, but they're not so much that you really need to fret over them because, like we're saying, you can just crit and have lower gear and do more damage. So it
Consistency
doesn't really matter.
Go ahead.
Yeah, consistency is the real underlying stat, as it were.
Yeah.
No, I agree completely.
But like the biggest variance is just straight up making less mistakes. Like if the whole party does everything perfectly that they're supposed to be doing, it's usually like fine either way.
Absolutely.
Even last tier with the really tight DPS check in the Norboss, it was the same way. They like, yes, it was tight, but it really came down to less mistakes. As long as you didn't make any mistakes, you were fine.
Yeah. All right. So that's again only big difference. Are you guys enjoying not having to wait for maintenance to happen and to be able to log in, where you just kind of sit there and wait for the things to turn on?
But we're capping tomes.
Yeah, I like that part. I don't like that it enables this extra piece of tome gear that forces anyone who wants to race seriously to wake up 2 hours early.
Is it okay? So again, that was a debate last time. Is it worth it to lose those hours of sleep to get a little bit better?
100%.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about gear differences just now, 10 eye levels is insane gain actually. Like on one piece of gear, that's actually a lot. So it's 100% worth it. Even if like you having those extra pieces of gear on everyone is like you're now just dealing more damage in the earlier turns, and those turns go faster. You might be able to clear a pull on one of those turns that you wouldn't have otherwise.
But then you have like 1 to
it's
2 hours
100%
less of raid time that day, right? So if it has to go into day 2, you lose.
And see that, that only matters if it's a day 1 clear. If it's a day 2 clear, you went to sleep anyway. It doesn't matter whether you got those first 2 hours of sleep or not. If it's a day 1 clear, then you're more tired at the end. Yes, but yeah, if it's a 2-day clear, then it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really like the 2 hours of doing, the hour of doing hunt trains and then an hour of making breakfast before.
Yeah, I don't like it. I wish it wasn't there, but I do like there not being any maintenance.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I'd still prefer the way it was before. I mean, it is really nice to have that week where, not everybody's cramming in all these crafting. I mean, I feel bad for all the big crafting teams that are out there, right? They were dedicated to getting all this gear out, and they had like, a big part of this, but a lot of that goes away now. And you get to see, again, all these mechanics and think about it for so long before you actually get into the fight. And I think that's not as fun as just seeing it all for the first time and then just figuring it out afterwards. But
fun in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say I would rather farm the tomes than require an entire team of crafters to slave for me for a
Yes.
couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of like that was always kind of a lame part of Frog. I thought was like having to have a bunch of people slave and craft your gear like as fast as possible. I don't know, like because if you want like to have it as fast as possible, you need people to do it specifically for you, right, and not just crafters in general. So.
Mm-hmm.
There's also as a lore enjoyer, I greatly appreciate being able to like sit through and appreciate the story before the race starts.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a lot better. They've been doing that a lot lately, where all the hard content is delayed by a couple weeks now, right?
Yeah.
So that people can read the story and stuff. That's pretty cool. Well, most people who skip the story to do prog early usually have alts that they read the story on anyway, so not a huge difference. But
I mean, you get some stuff spoiled, sure.
Yeah,
but that's all right. Okay. Okay, so we're happy with the new way they're doing it. I'd still rather there be like a maintenance dedicated to Savage that has all of the data for Savage.
Yeah,
That.
I can appreciate, I can understand that too.
Yeah. I feel like that would be, and that would eliminate the tome farming as well. I think, or it should, right? If you did it like 3 hours before, like I actually thought they were going to do it. When they said there was a maintenance on the 29th, and then I got my days confused.
Oh yeah, so many people got that mixed up.
And I was like, oh man, they're actually putting a 3-hour maintenance right before the tier comes out. But then that's for Monday morning, Sunday night, I guess. Right? So all right. It is what it is. Hopefully everybody will enjoy it still, and it'll still be fun, and we'll be all surprised by whatever that second phase is.
There is also one problem with the maintenance is the login queue RNG, which sucks. But
well, I
that
guess
mostly gets solved by just separating the content out, because 95% of the traffic is just people getting on to do like the trial and the story and stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Are you guys worried about the servers at all right now?
Huh?
No.
What was that?
Narrlocke does.
I didn't hear you, like, actually.
You didn't hear me? The server issues that are going on. I think that's mostly NA. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't. When I've been playing my NA character, I haven't noticed anything wrong.
The servers have been fine. It's the internet connection through a specific provider, right?
It is.
Like
it is.
Which is instantly solvable just by playing through a VPN.
Yeah, I think you have to have the right VPN and get all that stuff figured out, which I think most people did. Yeah, most of that's figured out. So, hopefully it's okay. It was really bad like the last couple of weeks, but I think people found the right workarounds for it, and it's kind of calmed down since then. But yeah, that'd be so depressing if there's connection issues at all.
Short answer: no, I'm not worried.
Okay.
I am actually. So the last time they upgraded the server, they had the like 24-hour mains where they upgraded the server hardware or whatever. That actually fixed a long-standing issue I was having that I haven't had since then. So I'm in a better mood about the networking than before.
Yeah, I haven't had any major issues afterwards. I did have issues the day before, which was very tragic because I was in the middle of Eureka.
Oops.
Yeah, but other than that, it's been good. It's been good since they've changed it up. But Alice, none of your teammates are having issues right now. They got it all figured out.
Only the sound bug, which I assume that's what the maintenance is for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, sound play. I'm guessing sound plays a huge part in your prog.
Mm-hmm.
Some people play muted. I think Ken plays muted.
Yeah,
That's
some people don't play
wild
with their
to
sound
me.
on, and I think they're in crazy, disgusting, filthy animals.
That's wild to me. I use sound so often in this game.
It's really, I play like very heavily like with sound cues to like base myself on fights.
Sometimes that's literally how I solve a mechanic. Like Uwu, the transition to a Freet. Like I literally just use a sound cue to figure out where he is, and that happens in Savage too.
Oh, I'm actually chat's telling us it's not supposed to fix the sound. That maintenance.
Uh-oh.
I read it too quickly. Hold on, I'll look it up. I thought it said sound in there when I was looking at it. All worlds maintenance. Maintenance issue. It cause servers to crash under certain conditions. As for the issue, separate news titled "Not playing under certain conditions under Windows version 2 weeks to be addressed." Oh, okay. So I just read it too quickly. So yeah, no sound bugs there, guys.
It's sound bugged.
Yeah.
What's the bug? I haven't had any issues.
It did apparently just cut all audio like permanently.
Oh, I remember them saying. I think it was the like suggested workaround is to not have your like controller speakers active or something. So maybe it has to do with the PlayStation controller speakers, and it fucks up your Windows settings, and the game doesn't know how to handle it. Because I know when I got my PS5 controller, every time I would plug it into my computer, it would start changing all my default sound settings to the controller.
Yeah.
And until eventually Windows stopped doing that for some reason. I guess like taught it to knock it off. But I'm guessing if people are having that happen, Final Fantasy probably just completely, the sound driver probably just completely crashes, because I know Final Fantasy has an issue with that in general.
Yeah.
I have to imagine.
I mean, like, I haven't had too many. Every once in a while, my sound will go away, and all I do is I go into my sound mixer and I change it from default and change it to my headset, which is my Corsair, by the way. An amazing headset, wonderful product. If you guys don't have a Corsair headset, you probably should be looking into it. Exclamation mark Corsair. There's a link you can use, and you can go buy some really good stuff. No, this headset's amazing. The mic on it's amazing. I love this freaking thing. So I hate the stand mics. I can't stand them.
Is that a pun?
I didn't mean that.
Depends what kind you get. I'm like really into production type stuff, so I could talk about this all day, but
I move my head everywhere, dude. Like I don't like, talk directly to the mic all the time, and so my sound will go up and down. And so when I'm doing shows, and this is a major problem I've had before, is that I would be looking one way and my volume would kind of go up and down depending on where I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And so, but this follows me around, and it's great. So.
Yeah, like I have the issue too, and compression is like really hit or miss. Sometimes compression makes your voice just sound awful. But
yeah,
I'm. It depends if you have a condenser or a dynamic. Usually, like dynamics are better about that, but you actually have to be holding them like up to your face.
You sound like you know audio a lot better than I do. Because I'm like, I'm half keeping up with you. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
I think we definitely have this conversation every time I come on your show, but
I don't know. We had a conversation about cameras one time. I know.
Yeah.
Anyways, but getting into it, I do want to say I appreciate. We've almost been here for 2 hours, talking. I'm pretty excited for it. Sounds like you guys are kind of excited for it. You're ready to beat it. Hopefully, have something interesting come out of it. Yeah.
Even if the tier's bad, I like Prague. World Prague is fun, so I'm excited.
I mean, there is something that's actually. I don't know if everyone would agree, but I would completely agree with Nari here, because it's just you have a puzzle in front of you, and you're like, I'm gonna figure it out. And whether you figure it out easily or you don't figure it out easily, it's the challenge of trying to figure it out as fast as you can, like going into an escape room and figuring it out and getting through. As long as it's not like so easy that it takes zero thought that you actually have to discuss things and put stuff together, then it's fun and worth it, right?
It's just fun, man. I wish more groups would just like willingly blind prog stuff. It's super fun. At least, well, it's fun if your group is the type to be able to figure things out, I guess. I've definitely had some groups who would try to blind prog things, like like casual friend groups. And when people don't know what's happening around them, it quickly becomes frustrating. But
I mean, the thing is, it's not hard. You just have to know how to do it, right? You just all right. So this has happened. Who has the debuffs? What are the debuffs? What are the effects? How does this stuff piece together? And puzzle it out, pull a few times, see how it variates, and move forward. Right?
Some people
it requires
in this
that
world,
awareness.
Yeah, it's
some
easy,
people
right?
in this world are just not capable of being perceptive. Unfortunately.
I mean, all you gotta do is look at the VOD. That's
Yeah.
Just analyze the VOD.
But I would definitely recommend it just for fun, because like, I mean, if you clear week 1 or week 2, like, you know, like what's that gear for? Do you really lose anything clearing like week 2 or whatever? But you got to like have way more fun doing it.
Gear doesn't
That's
matter.
how I feel about it.
It's nerfs to fight. That's all it does. It's not gonna like.
Yeah.
It just makes the fight more. You're able to mess up your rotation more. You're able to maybe get hit by something if a shield doesn't go off, right? At least that's my opinion on it. Is that like gear is only important to nerfing the fight down and making it easier for party finder. To be honest with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, blind prog is a whole different beast than your typical week 1 hardcore, midcore, even just going into party finder, like knowing strats ahead of time. It's so different. And if you haven't tried it, do your best to give it a try, because blind prog is my favorite thing to do in this game, and it's one of my favorite things to do ever right now. So it's the best.
Hey man, if the world race gets big enough to where I have a whole company managing all that stuff, then I'll make a team. And I'll just do it.
Let's go.
We'll get into it.
One of my favorite things I ever did in this game was having like a group of 7 Sprout players, and we would go back into stuff they've like old raids that they've never done before and do them blind. Ooh, that was
Let's
fun.
go.
Definitely recommend something like that.
It just sucks you can't do that with Party Finder at all. You could do the very beginning pools, but that's it.
It's easier it's easier to justify when it's old content with like people who's never done it before.
Yeah.
Because people get less like frustrated because they don't feel like they're missing out by like not being able to do it or whatever.
No, I just have this memory. I've had an experience where I literally joined a blind prog party in Promise for remove for
you got to put your
E5.
glasses back on, man. It's doing that
I'm
thing.
tired of the face tracking. I'm tired. It's fine.
Okay.
I joined a group, a blind prog air quotes group for E5 remove. I had already seen the first like 5 minutes of the fight, and then that group had disbanded, whatever reason. But I just went in and didn't say anything, and then someone else in the group started spouting off all the mechanics in a blind prog group. It's just
I hate that.
It's the worst.
I'm like, just pull. I used to do that though. I like doing that at the very beginning of a fight. If I have a chance, it's just go in there. When I raided with my static a long time ago, as soon as we beat a fight, the first thing we would do is just go into the next fight, not talk, just pull the boss and just see what happens. Just have fun with it for a little bit, because you only get a little bit of that, whereas it can be considered remotely justifiable for most groups, unless if you have a dedicated group of people who are okay burning the time on it.
Hey man, you can only be blind once. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. You know, I again, Eureka Orthos, dumb decision to do it there. Don't do it there. Savage, probably okay. Probably fine. All right. I guess the one last thing is I do want to review this, and sorry, Narrlocke,
what
for going over prizes and stuff. Because I'm sorry. But I do want to go over those real quick. For the first place and the second place. Well, first, second, and third, real quick. So we talked about the controllers. Those are now implemented for the teams. It's the reason why we have a third place now. But the first place, I gotta put I messed up. I should have fixed this for that one. There we go. So the first place team that clears on stream, sign up with the event, all that good stuff, will get 8 K70 Pro keyboards from Corsair, 8 MM700 extended mouse pads. By the way, this isn't a mouse pad. This is like a desk pad. It covers your entire desk and probably hangs off the side of it. It's a giant RGB mouse pad. Then you get 8 HS65 wireless headsets. So Corsair has done a lot to kind of help out. They are also giving out 8 mice that have not been released yet. So this is like the new product they're coming out with, the new best mouse that's possible. I have it. I've used it, and it's really good. So I am excited for it. Just I can't talk about it yet.
Are you legally allowed to hold it up in front of the screen?
No. I can't. I'd get in so much trouble.
Blink
But
twice.
I know whoever wins, whoever gets first place, does not have this mouse. The Scimitar mouse is an amazing mouse. It's really great. I can hold that up in front of the camera and everything.
Is whoever gets it allowed to reveal it once they have it?
You'll get it the day it comes out.
Okay. Fair enough.
You'll get it the day it comes out. So you don't own this. There's no way that you would have it. And this would be a new item completely. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, that's all of our wonderful Corsair stuff. You'll also get the controller from Battle Beaver. We only have one per team, though. Do you want to make that clear? There'll be one. The team gets to choose whoever they'd like to on their team to have it, or I could randomly draw however it wants to be. But for this race, we thought it'd be cool to get these really nice custom esports controllers that are like top of the line. So we brought that in as well. Then we also have some art. We have a group illustration that'll be done for the first place team. So take all the characters however you want to do it, and they'll do a group illustration for that team. Because if you play Final Fantasy 14, you probably like art missions, I'm assuming. Then the last thing, yes, the last thing is something we haven't ever done before, but I wanted to try it out. Is that we're going to give out custom first place, kind of like, they're sort of like a trophy, but not a trophy. They're like the job stones that have a La Habrea mask printed behind the job icon that you played. And it says world first on it. So we'll send that out to each of the players.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I want to do stuff like that too, where you just have this thing. You're like, oh, well, I did this thing one time. You know, may not be like, you know, winning Indy 500 or something trophy, but I think it's pretty cool. It's a nice token, and it looks really cool. By Wisteria here, and of course Side Fury for doing the art. So first place is pretty loaded.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty stacked. I want to make sure that we had something. It's a lot faster of a race this time, so it's a little bit harder to justify tons of really high-end prizes, but it's still really good. I think this is probably the best, one of the best we've been able to do so far. We also are doing, I wanted to do this because I felt like it would make sense, also give like a second place and a third place here. And so second place will also get a controller, and they'll get 8 headsets, HS65 headsets. Again, amazing headsets that have like, they do this thing, the sound ID thing, where you kind of do like a hearing test in there, and then it customizes the sound towards your ears. So they're pretty cool. Then we also give, Corsair's given our 8 keyboards out to second place as well. And then third place will get a controller too. So the top 3 teams will all be able to at least have this unique controller that doesn't exist anywhere. La Habrea, awesome controller from Battle Beaver. And I thought that was pretty cool. So there you go. Those are the prizes. What do you guys think about that?
That's awesome. I'm really glad we've been able to organize this. It's just, I want this scene to get bigger, and this is an excellent progression.
Yeah, I think so. You know, and I think that it's going to be hopefully just keep growing year after year, right? And then the next world race after this with the expansion is going to probably be at its peak. So the 7.0 world race is going to be freaking ridiculous, I think, because we have this whole expansion of races that have gone really well, I think. So we'll see.
I'll tell you what, it almost worked on my group.
Almost. Almost. Well, let them know. Send them the updated stuff. If they want to change their mind, they can. Signups will keep going all the way until the race starts. Basically, the main core condition is just that everybody's streaming, just so everybody's on the same page. Because the one thing that I don't want to do is someone streams and they stop streaming, then another team is streaming, they're at a disadvantage. So that's the only reason is because you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by streaming, in some regard, in some way. And so I want it to be just an even playing field for all those teams that are streaming.
Does that mean I have to stream?
Well, not everyone on the team has to stream, but people need to provide a stream that has a clean feed that can be viewable by the public.
It has to have a straight line from start to end because that kind of defeats the point. Otherwise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so you, if you turn off your stream and you're doing prog off stream, then that kind of gets into the sketchy territory.
You
that we
are
have to figure out.
disqualified.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say.
And also, guys, just to say it, it's going to be on the rules. Follow Final Fantasy 14 TOS. Follow Twitch TOS. If you get caught with doing anything really bad, messy, you get disqualified as well. If you get banned by Square Enix 100%, you get disqualified. I can't do anything about that. But yeah, and don't do anything horrible. Be good sportsmen. All that great stuff. All the rules are in the sign-up sheet too. You can check the MogTalk Twitter. It's pinned on there, and you can go through all that.
If I have to follow Twitch TOS, does that mean my prog stream can be prog and a bathtub stream since it's not against?
Yeah, you could totally do a hot tub stream. I'd like a clean point of view, right? So that's the other thing is like when people are doing their stream, I want them to not have like 5 moving GIFs on their screen just everywhere. That would be appreciated. So, but other than that, I mean, like if you have 7 people, yeah, someone could do a hot tub stream and just barely have the game, like, you know, tiny little window there or something like that, whatever. That's fine. Every once in a while we might show it. Not do anything that will get you banned anywhere is the goal, because I don't want the stream to get banned anywhere. Is the secondary goal to it.
I'm gonna be playing with my feet.
And as long as it's allowed, I don't know. All right. Well, that being said, we also have donation incentives, which we'll go over tomorrow. I'll try to get the teams that have signed up and loaded as well. But do you guys have anything else that you want to go over before we get off the stream?
Just good luck to everyone racing.
No. Good luck to everybody. I mean, like, I am really excited for this because this is literally, as long as the stream works and I don't have to, like, spend all my time just keeping it alive, it's one of my favorite times because I get to sit there and watch everybody get really excited and geek out over these fights and try to figure out how to do the mechanics, like, and just you know, they call the World Race Casting Desk kind of sometimes the retirement home for Raiders. Because they get all the experience of seeing all the stuff and theorizing and having fun without actually having to do the work of trying to prog and clear it.
That's
I mean, because
you can go to the bathroom whenever you want.
Yeah. What were you saying, Nari? Sorry.
I was just saying because all the raid that anyone else who would want to cast is raiding.
Yeah, that's true. It is a lot harder to find casters for Savage than it is to find them for Ultimate.
I can imagine.
Because Savage is so accessible versus Ultimate not being accessible for a world race. They're just two completely different things. Savage is anyone could get together with their friends and just try to push a day or two and take a day or two off work. Ultimate, you got to take like a week off, right? 2 maybe. So it's a different race completely. But Savage, it's so open to everyone to be able to do it. And now that you don't even need a huge team of crafters, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so
More
easy
open.
to get into. All right. Well, with that being said, we can go ahead and start wrapping up and say closing thoughts and everything. Nari, you said good luck to all the streamers or not the streamers, sorry, all the racers.
Yeah, good luck everyone except for you specifically, Narrlocke.
Good luck to all the racers.
Fake streamer, only streaming, but only fake streaming until afterwards.
Private streaming? What a joke. I'm just kidding.
I'll give you luck, Narrlocke, but not too much, so that we can actually maybe catch you this time.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, Nari, anything else that you want to say? Remind people kind of where they can find you and all that great stuff.
I'm streaming. I'll be streaming the World Race. I stream every time Kindred's doing anything, I'll stream. So that's me at twitch.tv/Nari_bird. Same thing for my Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trans rights.
Yeah. Trans rights. Okay. Narrlocke.
Have fun. That's all I have to say.
That's
I don't really care about anything else. I'm just having fun.
Have fun. All right.
Fair enough.
That's all you got to say. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Alice.
I'll just say good luck as well to everyone, and my own links are on the screen. I don't know if I'll stream yet. I'm still undecided, but we'll see. Plenty of my group will be on MogTalk, I hope, anyway. So
Yeah.
you'll see them there. And shout out to our Nines and our crafter Atma. He made like 5,000 pots, so that's the homie. Thanks Frosty, obviously, and
Yeah.
just everyone that supports the race.
You might need more than 5,000. You never know, dude.
No shot.
I gotta get back to making my own pots.
Needed them for top. I know it's not.
No shot.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate all of you coming on. It does mean a lot to have take some of your time here right before the race happens, right? And I know you can schedule synced and everything for when you need to wake up and all that great stuff. So, thank you for giving me some of your time so we can talk about this stuff, because this is stuff I love and I'm excited for it. And this stream is not going to have another stream until the world race starts. I'm not going to stream again until it starts, because everything's going to go into prepping and planning and making sure that things are going to go well for the event. To remind everybody, we are raising money for Extra Life as well. We're going to continue on the campaign that we had from Ultimate, and just keep that going. Donation incentives will be posted on the MogTalk Twitter tomorrow, which is a whole lot of stuff. Actually, to let you know, everything the World First stream team will get is up for a donation incentive reward. So the controller, secret mouse, all that stuff, all there. Except for the art, the group art, you'll have the regular portrait arts that we have. We'll have a couple of really cool portrait arts up for donation incentives, as well as job stones, but we won't have the World First tokens, right? Those will be for World First. Anyways, that all being said, I think that's it, guys. We can go ahead and wrap up. Everybody, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for
Bye.
watching.